Hello reader, so today I'm going to summarize a book called A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This book was published in 2011 and it follows a critical period in the life of a boy named Connor. He is 13 years old school going boy. So before getting into the book summary, let's first see our list of characters. We have first Connor, who is the protagonist, and then we have other characters like his mom, his grandma, and his dad. And then another character is Monster has some connection to Yew. How they both are connected, that the story is going to unfold later. Then we have another character, Lillian Andrews. She is called Lily in the story. And then we have characters of Harry, Anton, and Sally. These three are Connor's class fellows, but they are not friends and they bully him sometimes, they beat him. Harry is their group leader. Harry is a really bright student and he is kind of a teacher's pet. He doesn't have any friends in school, but he has followers, and Anton and Sally are one or two of them. Then we have Miss Kwan. She is their class teacher. So before getting into the summary, let's first understand a few things that are really important to understand the story better. So the first is that Connor's mom is suffering from a disease. She is really, really ill. In the story, they have not named what disease she is suffering from, but she has something. And she is sometimes hospitalized, sometimes she is at home throwing up at odd times. And when her mom is sick, her grandma comes and lives with them in their home. Connor's mom and dad are separated. They separated 6 years ago, and his dad then moved to America, remarried, and now had a daughter. They sometimes, the dad and Connor, they talk on Skype. Another detail is that from Connor's room window, he could see a church tower up on a small hill behind his house. There is a graveyard attached to the church, and in the center of the graveyard is a yew tree. Yew trees are really famous for their healing capacities, but their berries are really poisonous, and therefore Connor's mother always tells him not to eat berries from this tree. So the story begins when Connor is sitting on his bed and he is thinking about the nightmare. Actually, he had a nightmare ever since his mother got ill, and he used to have the same nightmare, and he used to wake up really terrified, not knowing what to do, and he hadn't shared this nightmare with anybody. And now he is sitting on his bed and he hears somebody calling his name. But he thinks maybe it's just because I am half awake, so it's because of that. But then he hears his name again, and he thinks maybe his father is back from America, and he instead of calling on phone, he is now calling his name. But then he thinks, no, that's not possible, and then he hears the voice again, and it says Connor. And now he thinks, oh, this is not my father's voice, so who is it that calling me? So he goes to his window and opens the window, and he sees that, the yew tree that I talked about earlier, this yew tree has attained the shape of a monster. It's really big, and its branches had made the arms, the face, and everything, and that yew tree is talking with him, and he is still in disbelief how a yew tree can talk, right, and attain a shape of a monster. But then the yew tree says, I am here to get you. And the Connor says, but the monster that I imagined, I thought you would be far worse, but you're not that. And the yew tree says, but I am here to get you. And the Connor says that, okay, then get me, I'm not afraid of you. But the yew tree is offended at this thing, that I am the monster and you're not offended by me. And so they talk, and the yew tree at the end tells him that he is here to tell 3 tales to Connor. And in return to these 3 tales, he asked Connor that you will have to tell me the truth. You will have to tell me the 4th story. Now, what is this 4th story? The story is going to unfold slowly. Then Connor doesn't remember what happens later, because he wakes up, it is morning time, and he sees some bushes in his room, and he thinks, if it were a dream, why are there bushes? Why are there these berries? And so he goes down, he makes his breakfast. He actually makes his breakfast quite a few times, because his mom is ill, so she couldn't. And then he goes to school. When he comes back, his mom tells him that the grandma is coming here to stay with them for a couple of days, because his mom is constantly throwing up, his mom is constantly not feeling better, although she is on medication and everything. And then Connor is really upset because he doesn't get along with his grandmother. It's just first because of the generational gap, and second, they don't have that much understanding of each other. He goes to school, and then the same thing happens, that Anton, Harry, and Sally are there. They do some teasing, and then Lily got there, and Lily saves this Connor from them. And at the end, the teacher gave Lily some detention because she saw Lily doing the stuff to the boys, and the teacher asked Connor if something the boys has done with him, but the Connor says no. And then they goes to school, and couple of days passed, and then Lily comes back to Connor saying, hey, let's be friends. Now why she's saying that is because they have been friends. Connor and Lily had been friends, so they have been even best friends. Their moms have been friends, but then because of which Connor broke this friendship was that Connor told Lily about his mom's illness, and then Lily told everybody in school, and now so the teachers, the students, everybody looks at Connor not as Connor but somebody who is suffering, who is going through a period. I mean, as if they are pitying him, right? They're not treating him as an equal individual, they just treat him as a son of a sick lady. So even if Connor does something, the teacher don't give him detention. So he is really upset with Lily, and he doesn't want to continue their friendship. Now a few nights, 5 nights passed, and Monster hasn't visited yet. And then on the 6th night, the monster came, and Connor goes outside, and then the monster tells him the first story. So the first story is about a prince and a queen, that there was a king in an area who had 4 sons, and all of his sons died one by one because of certain reasons. So the people who were left now were prince and one of his grandsons. The grandson was too young, so the prince thought maybe I should remarry, and he remarried actually. After some time, the king dies, and this queen is the one who is looking after the entire kingdom. And now the grandson, he actually grew up. Now he is about to become a king, but the queen doesn't want him to become the king. So this prince is actually in love with a farmer's daughter, and everybody knows about them, and everybody knows that the queen will not agree to him marrying a farmer's daughter. So they eloped, okay, and they came and they sat under this yew tree, this monster, okay, and they spent the night there. And in the morning, what they saw, that the prince was shrieking. He was saying to everyone that, oh, there is a knife, and then the farmer's daughter is dead. So he tells everyone that the queen has came at night and murdered this lady, his beloved. So the people become really enraged at the queen, saying that, oh, she is a murderer, she is a killer. So the people wanted to take revenge from the queen, and the yew tree knew about this. So the yew tree walked, and then she took the queen away from there and took her really far away land, and the prince became the king. Now at this point, Connor asked the monster, why did you do that? Why would you save a murderer? That is the queen. But monster said, I never told you that she is the murderer. I told you that okay, she was evil, there were certain allegations on her, but I never said that she is the murderer. And then told Connor the whole story, that actually the prince himself killed the beloved, that farmer's daughter, so that the people would believe on this prince, and he would eventually become the prince, right? Because he knew deep down that queen was actually wicked, and queen used magic to keep her youth, and the queen used magic and even killed his grandfather. So that was the reason. So this was the first story. And then after some days, he visited again when Connor was at his grandmother's house. Connor came to his grandma's house because his mother was hospitalized and his father was coming from America to visit him. So he was really excited to meet his father. So he went and he met his father. He was really happy too. But he saw a lot of change in his father. Actually, he never knew his father that much, but still, to see somebody on Skype, to talk with a person on Skype, and to meet them in real life are completely different experiences. And then he wanted his father to live with him, but his father said that he couldn't live with him because they already are a family of 3 and they don't have a room enough to have another member. So Connor was a bit sad about that. Now coming back to the scene. So he was at his grandma's house, and he's really sad and angry by everything going on in his life, in his school life, in his personal life at home. And again, this conversation with his father didn't go well. So he came. There is a clock in his grandma's house, and the clock was really expensive. So Connor actually broke that clock, and then the monster came, and the monster told him that now I will tell you the second tale, and that tale is about a selfish person who is punished because of his selfishness. So there are 2 people in this story. One is apothecary, and another is a parson. An apothecary is basically a pharmacist. The apothecary used to be really famous in the place because he used to heal people, he used to cure their ailments. But now one time he needed this yew tree for some treatment, but the parson said that no, you cannot get it. And so the apothecary's whole career was ruined, and he didn't do anything. People used to hate him. He became really selfish. He used to take a lot of money to cure diseases. And then one time, as time passed, this person had two daughters, right? But these two daughters got ill, and their illness could not get away with anything. So this person went to apothecary and said that, please cure my daughters, I can give you anything you want, I will even give you the yew tree that you wanted. But the apothecary said that, no, I needed it in that time, I don't need it now. You have ruined everything, so I'm not going to cure them. And then in the end, the person's daughters died, both of them. And what the monster did was that the monster went the same night and broke the roof of the person's house and the walls of the person's house and completely destroyed it. And then this boy Connor said to the monster, why did you do that? I mean, apothecary also was a selfish man, right? But the monster said that no, in the beginning he was not, right? It was that he needed that yew tree, but the person denied him that, and therefore he turned into this evil or wicked man. So this was the end of the second story. And by this time, because Connor has already broken the clock of her grandma, monster did some destruction, Connor also did that. And then at the end, monster was like, you are enjoying it. And Connor was actually enjoying that destruction. He was breaking off different things from the room. He was breaking off settee, breaking off different other tables. And then when Connor realized, the scene changed, and he realized that he has actually broken off so many things in his grandma's house, and he was really ashamed. And grandma came there and she saw everything. She saw the blood on Connor's hand, but she didn't talk to him. And so 1 or 2 days passed in this thing. They didn't talk. They didn't face each other. And Connor was really ashamed of everything. But he was still in disbelief whether he was meeting a monster in real life, or whether it's all a dream that he is not waking up from. And then he met his father, and his father told him he has to go to America because the stepsister of Connor was ill, and the mother wants the father back there. So he went there. Connor was really sad about this thing too, and he also knew that the condition of her mother was getting worse. She was not getting, her cure was not doing better to her. And then Connor's mom told her that they are going to try something new, and that's that they are going to do a medication made from the yew tree. And Connor was really happy here after hearing that, because he thought maybe the monster is here to help me. Maybe the monster is actually trying to heal my mom, because the monster also is a yew tree, right? He comes from there, and he is also of this idea. But what happens is completely different. And so days passed. One day he is in school, and again these 3 boys are here. And instead of hitting, Harry gave Connor a hand just for handshake. And there was a time when the monster he appeared, not in the form of a tree, but Connor felt as if the monster is standing beside him, and the monster starts telling him a story about an invisible man who wanted other to notice him. Other just neglected that person. Other just neglected the powers of that person. Connor just felt that he is that invisible man, and he also wants to be seen. And this is what he repeated. And then he started fighting with the boys, and he actually did harm Harry a little bit more. Even monster was involved. So the whole school was in disbelief. Teachers, students, everyone was like, oh, one student cannot do this much harm. There must be someone else involved. But of course they could not see the monster. Nobody could see him. Only Connor felt him, and Connor heard him. And then the teachers were really upset with Connor, but they didn't give him detention because of everything going on at his home. And so Connor came back home, and the monster reappeared after a few days and asked him to tell him the 4th story, because the 3 stories were told by the monster, right? So as promised, Connor had to tell the 4th story, and Connor was not willing to tell them. But then at the end he agreed, and Connor told monster the dream that he had, the nightmare. And he told that in a nightmare he saw that his mother was falling from a cliff, and he was sitting on a cliff, and his mother was holding on to his hand. She was grasping his hand, and she was like, Connor, do not leave me. Connor, don't let me fall. But his mom's weight was getting heavier and heavier, and at the end he let go of her hand, and she fell into the cliff. And he was really shocked, and he used to think that it is because of him that his mother fell. But actually he couldn't hold on to her no longer, because she was just so heavy for him. And the monster said that, you just admit that you let go of her. And Connor said, but I didn't mean to, I didn't want to. I wanted to save her, but she just fell from there. But the monster still insisted that, no, Connor, I want you to admit the truth. And at the end, Connor said that, yes, I let go of her. What else could I do? I'm just so sick of everything going on around me. And I cannot endure this pain no longer. This pain is never ending. I don't want her to be hurt every single day. I don't want me to be hurt every single day. And then the monster said that, yes, this is completely human to want our sufferings to end. And so Connor was at peace, and then Connor visited hospital, and then he understood that the treatment didn't go well, and his mother was about to die. And then at the end, he went to his mom. He held her hand, and then he told her that, I don't want you to go. He held her hand tightly, and the other hand of his mother was in his grandma's hand. And so they both were there when his mom died. And then grandma came to Connor and said that, I understand that we don't have a really good relation, but something that is so important to both of us actually connects us, and that's your mom. And that is a very big reason to connect anyone. And so the story ends here. They both are together at the end. So yeah, that's it. Bye bye.